What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE here with another classic movie review. We are once again getting back into the Alien franchise. Alien Romulus is going to be out in theaters in August, so we're going to go back and talk about all the Alien films. I've already talked about the original Alien from Ridley Scott. If you guys haven't seen my review for that, check out my channel. But we are continuing on talking about the second film of the Alien franchise, directed by the man himself, James Cameron, Aliens. It came out in 1986. Let's get into it. So, if you guys see my review for the first Alien, I love the first Alien. I thought it was a great sci-fi horror film. Such a Probably one of the things that paved the way for sci-fi horror back in the day. The design of the alien was great. The suspense, the tension, the overall practical depth and scenery and just like atmosphere, all that was just done really, really well. So lo and behold, hearing that James Cameron, one of my personal favorite directors, is coming in to direct the sequel, I was so excited. Um, Definitely think it's a great person to step in after Ridley Scott, and I've enjoyed every James Cameron film. Honestly, I think he's franchise Viagra. Because whenever he steps into a franchise, he somehow elevates the material. You know, Similar feeling of how I felt with Terminator. Even though he did direct the first Terminator, and then he went on to direct Terminator 2, one of the best sequels ever made. So, you know, of course he would come in to this and make it just as good as the first Alien, if not better. And yes, I am happy to say that Aliens, I think, is absolutely fantastic. This is, once again, one of the best sequels ever made. I personally enjoyed this more than the first Alien. And it's not to take anything away from the first Alien, but just James Cameron did his thing with this movie. He pretty much took what was set up in the first Alien and just expanded on it. And what I love the most about this film is that James Cameron was not trying to do the same thing that Ridley Scott did for the first Alien. Um, Now I'm aware of like the debate online of which Alien film is better. There's some people that like Alien more, and there's some people that like Aliens more. And yeah, as I said earlier, I personally lean more towards towards Aliens, and personally, it's actually for the reasons why people would probably lean more towards Alien, because like for a lot of people, they look at Aliens that it's not as scary as the first Alien, where the first Alien was a lot more of a suspenseful, creepy, intimate type of movie. That felt more like a horror film. While Aliens, while it still has those slow, quiet, suspenseful moments, it's emphasizing more of the action. You know, so a lot of people probably won't even consider this movie a horror film, but it's more of a sci-fi action movie, where I think it still could be qualified as a sci-fi horror because there's still horror elements in here, but I guess it's like a sci-fi horror action picture. But I personally felt like that's always been a silly debate online. Like they're both great for their own merits, and they both bring the suspense and terror and horror when it comes to the concept of the xenomorphs in this film. Going back to why I appreciate this film expanding on what they did in the first film, while we only had to focus on one alien in the first film. Aliens, we're dealing with multiple of them, and it's not even the same species of xenomorph. It's not the exact same design as it was in the first film. So the film is already telling you that there are different species of these xenomorphs out there, you know, and we got to see more of like their nest, and a lot more of the eggs and the face huggers and stuff like that. So I thought all of that was really, really fascinating. And then probably the biggest surprise of this movie is the alien queen. The alien queen in this movie I thought was amazing. It is one of the best practical designs like I've ever seen for a creature in a film. Probably one of the coolest alien designs I have ever seen. And just once again expanding on the lore that there is actually a giant alien queen that these other aliens are following. Like it's some sort of hive mind, you know? And so I thought all of that was really, really fascinating. And then the whole idea that these xenomorphs don't just instantly kill, humans. They actually capture some of them so they can be hosts, so that the xenomorphs will be able to be born out of humans. They they capture them and put them in like these weird gooey nests, these cocoons and stuff like that. So that I thought all that was just really, really cool. This was just this so badass. The whole idea of the xenomorphs, the designs of the xenomorphs, like if all of this was just so freaking cool. On top of the fact that this is some terrifying stuff, man. Like I like that this film was able to balance the cool factor of the xenomorphs while also being scary and just disgusting, and it just all of that was really, really good. Another thing that I thought they did better in than the first film was the character development. I thought the cast in the first film was pretty solid, but I'll be honest, the only people I really was invested in is obviously Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, and I was somewhat interested in the android in the previous film. But I thought the characters, the Ripley and the supporting cast in here, I thought all of them were really, really good. But first of all, let us start with Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. She was awesome in this film. This movie solidified her becoming one of the greatest female protagonists in the film. One of the best action stars in the film. She was just so great in this. Um, Once again, it's just showing how she's instantly able to take charge, and it's like calling people out on their BS. And since it's more of an action film, whenever there's danger, she steps up. She's competent. She knows how to handle a gun. She's directing the Marines in here to get to safety and like whatever maneuvers or whatever. So it's like she elevated a lot from the first film. Um, and she's a competent, strong-willed, smart. So yeah, but like Sigourney Weaver did her thing in this movie. Um, yeah, it's just I can gush about her all day. As far as the supporting cast, we have Michael Biehn as Hicks. Of course, we know him from Terminator, being Kyle Reese. So once again, James Cameron stay when it comes to his films, but I thought he was great in it as well. Uh, Probably one of the head Marines of this film, and I thought he was really, really good. He worked off the other cast really, really well. Once again, like he's very badass as a Marine. The guns in this movie too, I thought was really good, and he was able to jump into action and pretty much complimenting Ripley as far as like making sure everyone is safe and like making sure everyone gets through facilities safely and all that stuff, and jumping into action when he needs to. Once again, not taking BS from anyone. Um, but yeah, and the one other thing that I appreciate with him and with Sigourney Weaver is that while yeah they are more hard edged in this film, and they're a lot more action heavy and they have to take charge, like they still were very likable characters. They weren't like mean spirited or anything like that. There was no dick measuring contests in this movie. Like they actually were likable and they actually had really good chemistry together. Um, and I appreciate that they didn't feel the need to rush a romance between Michael Biehn and Sigourney Weaver, even though I definitely would have been for it. But they just treated it as teammates and colleagues, so I thought that was handled pretty good. And then they introduce a kid in this film, and with that's one of the things going in I was very apprehensive about, because when they introduce kids in a sci-fi horror film, it could go either way, you know. And back then, child actors weren't the most trustworthy when it comes to films, but I am happy to say that Newt, I thought she was so adorable. I thought she was very good. She wasn't annoying. She wasn't dumb. You know, she wasn't mean or anything. She was justifiably so. She was afraid of everything. She was going through PTSD, but very understandable. You know, where we find her in the film, where she's just all alone by herself, surviving the xenomorph attacks. Um, and you know, she comes off a lot smarter than you would think initially when we are introduced by her. But um but yeah, I thought she was very, very good. And then they do have a mother daughter type of adoptive mother daughter dynamic between Ripley and Newt, and I thought that was actually very endearing. I thought it was really good. Even though they don't spend a lot of time together, like as far as them being able to bond in this situation with them trying to just survive with the xenomorphs. They actually were able to bond really, really well, and I really like that. And you could feel like kind of like a adoptive mother father daughter dynamic between Ripley, um, Hicks, and Newt. So I thought all that was very, very good. And then as far as the other cadets, of course, you got Bill Paxton as Hudson. Um, you could look at him as the comic relief of this, and I thought he was pretty solid. He did just enough of the comedy where it didn't feel too much, or I wasn't annoyed by him. I know I could get where some people would think his character is annoying, but to me, like I thought he was pretty solid. It's Bill Paxton. He's always entertaining to watch. And then the other Marine that's noteworthy to talk about is Vasquez. The other badass chick in this, the short hair, and like I thought she was really, really good. She was very charismatic. She was very, she had a hard edge, but once again, she was very likable. Um, she was able to handle a gun really, really well, especially these huge guns that they have in this movie, like the freaking huge, and she's just lifting it like it's nothing. So I thought she was very good. We have a new android in this film, Bishop, and I thought he was pretty good, especially because in the first film, that android ended up malfunctioning and or going rogue, and so there's understandable that Ripley is apprehensive of trusting Bishop in this film, but I'm happy to see that Bishop did not end up the same way as the android in the first film. He actually was very helpful. He was very useful. Um, yeah, there was no shady stuff going on with him, so I definitely appreciated that. But unfortunately, of course, you do have some shady businessmen in this movie. Uh, Burke, I guess he's like one of the main businessmen that's funding the operation with the Marines. Of course, he wants to be able to capture a xenomorph or a face hugger or some sort of DNA so they could take it to his corporation, and you think he'll get a lot of money from it. It's that typical stuff, the greedy greedy entrepreneurs, businessmen, whatever. It's just like, so I mean, that was an element that could help to expand a little bit more on the world or whatever. But it's typical businessman stuff with him. It's like, and of course he would lead to do for him to do some stupid decisions in the film. So that's here or there. Um, Also, what was very shocking was that where we left off Ripley in the first movie, she was in cryo sleep, and with this film, like apparently she was stuck in cryosleep for almost 60 years. So her cryogenic chamber malfunctioned. She almost could have died, and it's just crazy where she wakes up like she's everyone that she knew is either really old or died. Um, there was this one scene where they established that she has a daughter, and since she was stuck in cryo sleep, she wasn't able to see her daughter grow up. She actually is now older than her mother. So, and then she passed away not too long ago from old age. So seeing her go through that adds another layer to her character, and I just it makes me really feel bad for her because like I can only could imagine like not being able to see your child growing up and like your child actually getting older than you because you were stuck in cryogenic sleep. It's crazy stuff like that. It's insane. Um, Once again, the practical effects, the practical sets, all of that was awesome in this movie. James Cameron is one of the best attention to detail directors ever, and so I expected nothing less in this film. Like Lily, the ships, the base, the exterior of the different planets, the weapons in here. Dude, this felt so much James Cameron. I felt his touch all throughout this film, and I loved it. Just like all that, and obviously he's going to put in the detail with the xenomorphs as well, especially the alien queen. I love the practical effects in this. It's so cool. It's so good. Um, but yeah, just I feel like they just elevated everything. I didn't think there was anything practical wise that looked dated. I didn't think there was any like, you know, any cheesy shots or like weird editing here and there. Like I think they polished a lot of stuff that I kind of felt was issue wise, directing wise in the first film, which was very, very minor. But in this one, I didn't notice anything. Like there's a lot of this stuff that really holds up. Um, Oh, and also the mech that Ripley pilots when she's fighting the alien queen at the end, and that iconic scene where Ripley says, "Get away from her, you bitch!" It like, dude, it's so cool. That fight between her and the alien queen, iconic. One of the most iconic scenes in film. I love this movie overall, this movie is great. It is one of my favorite films of all time. It definitely, I think, is better than the first film, and I love the first movie, but it literally just took everything that I loved from the first film and just made it better. They expanded on the mystery of the xenomorphs. There's a lot more xenomorphs in here. Like we learned about a little bit more about the facehuggers and about the alien queen. I thought that was great. The Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, fantastic. One of the best female protagonists in film. I thought the Marines in here were great. Michael Biehn as Hicks was awesome. Newt I thought was really, really good. Bishop, very good. The cast all around was really great. One of the best sci-fi horror action films ever made. So I'm giving Aliens an A. If you haven't seen this movie and you love sci-fi and horror, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go watch this movie. And if you're a James Cameron fan, you need to watch this film. He did his thing. This is why he's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Aliens. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the first Alien? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So unfortunately, this is where it goes downhill, because the next film I will be talking about is Alien 3. So tune in for that when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you, Alien fans, and I'll catch you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Game over, man! Game over!